Hey guys, Kyle Hunt with Hunt Fitness. I'm back with another Q&A video series. Got a lot of good questions. So it's probably going to get split up into 2 or 3 different videos. So if your question doesn't get answered on this one, well, I might not even pick it, but chances are it's going to be on all the other videos. So keep checking back. It'll probably be up within the next week. So well, let's just get into the questions. First question is from Kyle Pierce. What is the most beneficial meal you can eat before bed in order to gain lean mass? Alright, now I'm going to start off the answer with there's nothing special about your before bedtime meal that's going to be anything really different from your other meals. But, again, being that it's not anything different, started out with some protein. It could be any source of protein. It doesn't have to be, your casein protein powder or cottage cheese or a Greek yogurt. Yeah, those are good sources of protein, but I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, well, they're slow digestion for slow absorption rate proteins. We want them so they can, slow feed your muscles throughout the night. Yes, no, it's not a huge deal. I mean, as long as you're going to have some fat with that meal as well, then it's going to slow down the absorption rate of the protein anyways. So, for instance, I personally like to just have like a regular whey shake just because it's easy. I don't like to cook anything right before I go to bed, so I'll have like maybe a scoop and a half of whey, tablespoon of peanut butter, depending on what my macronutrient needs are at the time. If I'm having a little bit higher carb days, I'll fit in maybe half a cup of oatmeal or 3/4 cup of oatmeal, whatever my diet calls for. But that's something real easy I would have. Or if I have some leftover food, I'll have chicken, steak, whatever lean protein I have, with any carb source is fair game. A little bit of fat as well. And then there's the growth hormone argument. You're like, well, if you have carbs before bed, then you don't have the growth hormone release. If you have damn near anything before bed, you're gonna blunt growth hormone release, aside from maybe protein. So don't decide your bedtime meal for that. Actually, there's been some studies showing that having carbs later in the day is completely fine, and I've made videos about that and I've spoken about that and the whole carbs before bed thing. It's really, again, if you can fit them in to your last meal, fit them in. But if you're have a lot of carbs in your other meals and you use them up throughout the day, then obviously you can't have any before you go to bed. But alright, so to just wrap this question up, there's really nothing special or anything for your bedtime meal, but again, just have some protein, have some fats, and if your diet calls for it, have some carbs as well. So hopefully that helps you. Alright, second question here. This one's from Michael. I'll probably butcher your last name. Stell? Yeah, you know who you are. Alright, so how or what can you do to build muscle and size but keep a toned look? Also, is it better to bulk then slim down or steadily try to grow? What gives better results? Alrighty. I get this question quite a bit. So here's my answer to the second part. It really depends on how much size you want to put on. If you want to put on a boatload of size, yeah, it's going to be better to just bulk and then worry about cutting body fat later. But if your goal is not really to put on a huge amount of size, then you're going to be better off going a little bit slower route, staying leaner. I never recommend getting above like 15% body fat. It's just, there's nothing productive once you're getting over that. Your body's just going to be so much better at putting on muscle even at a lower body fat. So to answer that question, if you're going to compete in bodybuilding, it's better to have an off season so you can add muscle and not worry about staying so lean. But if you're just general fitness, then yeah, try to stay a little bit leaner and just slowly add muscle, because again, bodybuilders are looking at it a little bit differently, because it's all about competition weight. So if you compete at 165 one year and you bulk up, gain 30 pounds the off season, but then come in, cut down at 170, that's really productive. But you had to gain a shitload of weight and then cut it all off. But still, it's a net of 5 pounds gain. For the average person, who wants to put on 30 pounds they had to take off? So try to gain that 5 pounds maybe slower, but in like 10 pounds, so then you only have to diet off 5 pounds, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, that's my recommendation there. So yeah, I would say that would get better results. But to keep the tone look here, the first part of the question, that's all going to be nutrition. I don't recommend training for that. I mean, aside from cardio, I mean, yeah, when you're trying to lean up, you're going to have to add in some cardio. But as far as your weight training, you should always train heavy. But your training needs to be periodized, so you're always, not necessarily training heavy, but always training to build muscle, if that makes sense. Actually, a lot of the couple videos I put out recently, I was doing some higher rep training. It was just part of my periodized program that I started out with a hypertrophy endurance cycle. Now I've worked into a little bit lower reps now. It's just, you gotta keep your training progressive and change it up. Can't keep on the same thing, and you can't keep on the same rep scheme forever. I mean, I see so many guys just staying at 8 to 12, 8 to 12, 8 to 12. It's like, change it up a little bit, and you're gonna see better results. So, training, keep it the same, or whatever your training program calls for. Always try to build muscle with the resistance training. Add in cardio to burn the fat. I like a mixture of a little bit of moderate intensity and high intensity and low intensity all work together. Is it better to slim down or bulk up than slim down? If you want to get huge, yes, but for general population, probably not. So hopefully that answers that question. Alright, so on to the next question. Alright, is it possible that I should spare my workouts with more time in between? I have a fast metabolism, and it's hard for me to put on or build muscle and keep mass. I take whey protein and other supplements are too expensive for me. That's from Michael Jellison, who I went to high school with. I don't know how many times you're working out in a week, but knowing you, I think probably 4 days for you would probably be fine, or 3 or 4 days, as long as you're training hard those 3 or 4 days. There's no reason why you need to be in the gym 5 or 6 days a week. You have a fast metabolism, so yes, you gotta take in the calories, man. I mean, that's what you need to do. It says you take whey protein, that's a good start, but you can't just rely on that. I mean, whey protein all in itself is really not a lot of calories, just protein. So, you gotta be eating big, gotta have a big breakfast, big lunch, big dinner, and then use that protein as just in addition to a lot of calories, and add some stuff with it. So is it possible that you should space your workouts differently? Possibly. I don't know what your workouts are, but make sure you're getting some rest. Can't train every day. But yeah, I'd say 3 to 5 days would probably be optimal for you. And make sure you're eating enough. That's the key to overcoming fast metabolism, is you gotta eat. Gotta get the food in. It's more than whey protein, so just get in the calories. Alright, next question. This one's from my man Eloy. He was a client of mine. How do you feel about using CLA and fish oil for fat loss? I like, fish oil just for general health. Our, American diets are super high in omega-6s and really low in omega-3s. Its ratio should be really close to 1-to-1. Our ratios are like 1 to 10. For those of you who don't know, it's polyunsaturated fatty acids, or omega-3s and omega-6s. Omega-3s come from like the fish oils and stuff like that. Omega-6s are all like the grains that we eat and stuff like that. And another thing is our meat sources are all fed, from grains, and they're really high in omega-6s, whereas like free-range meats are really high in omega-3s, and nobody really eats that. So taking a fish oil supplement is definitely a good thing. It does have a little bit of benefit for fat loss. It's not really going to show up if you just start taking it. CLA, I don't know. It does have some fat loss benefits to it, but it's more chronic usage. So it's not like a thermogenic where you're going to take it and then you're going to be, damn, I'm getting lean. You know what I mean? It's more, prolonged, maybe throughout a 16-week cut. If you didn't use it and you compared like a study that when they did, there might be a slight increase in thermogenesis with the people who used it, fat loss. But it's not a staple by any means, in my opinion, for fat loss. Will it work? Will it help you? Yeah, a little bit. Not a huge amount, though. So I think that's going to wrap up the first video. I have about 3 or 4 more questions that will go on video 2, so make sure you check that out.